Hello, everyone. Welcome to Going 19, episode 43. Today, we are doing the last part of Drawing of the Three, the second book of the Dark Tower. We are covering The Pusher and Final Shuffle. I am Ed. With me are Allie and Amber. Let's start the show.
Hello.
Hello.
Was that one good?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So, Allie, where are you at?
I liked it. Which I feel like didn't sound convincing. But overall, book as a whole was much, much better than Gunslinger for me. This last section kind of went in a very different direction than I thought it would, and I am so glad for that.
That's what I was saying at the end of the last podcast that I couldn't really say. Like, it doesn't do what you think it's going to do.
And when we kept saying, like, what are you, like, who pushes that we know of? And I was like, I can't say it.
Yeah. Well, and I didn't even connect that to the first part.
Yeah,
and
you had the wrong kind of pusher, totally.
Well, yeah, because that's, I mean, in terms of, like, murdering people, that's not one that you commonly hear. So that's not, of course, where my mind first went.
Your thieves, your robbers, and your pushers.
That apparently.
Right.
But
I was listening to a song called "The Pusher at the Gym" about the guy's drug dealer. So yeah, you don't think that's where my mind goes. Oh, the pusher. He's the one giving Eddie the heroin.
Yeah.
He was literally the pusher.
Well, and I guess there was a kind of, like, pharmacy pusher too in there with the quote unquote robbery that Roland does at the end of, like, the pharmacy store.
That whole scene was funny.
Just all of him in that guy's body is kind of funny.
Yeah, I kept forgetting that he was in Mort's body the whole time too.
Yeah, because he doesn't like Mort, so he doesn't try to placate him or anything. He's just like, "Fuck you, asshole. This is what's happening."
I mean, well, you kind of understand that because of what happened to Jake, but I was so scared because, especially when it went back to the Man in Black saying death, but not for you, I was so scared that Roland was going to have to kill Jake.
Yeah.
Again.
Yes, but, like, in a different body to make sure that whatever, like, infinite loop cycle is going on with Roland, that it follows.
Yeah, sorry. You good?
I'm done.
I thought the first time I read it that Roland, I like how Roland's mind is just blown as soon as he enters Jack, and you're like, holy shit! Like, this is the guy that connects it all together, basically. It all, like, right now, this thing really, it doesn't revolve around Roland or the Man in Black. It revolves around Jack Mort. Everything that's happening is because of him, and Roland just doesn't. He's like can't. He's like immobile when he first gets in there because all the connections like hit him instantly.
Yeah, it's weird to think of somebody passing out in someone else's head.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was like, "Where's Roland?" Like, and then Roland just kind of takes his body, starts doing what he wants. I'm like, "Wait, where's like Jack Mort during this whole thing?" And he's at some point he mentions Jack back there screaming or something. I was like, "Oh, that's a pretty good image," and he doesn't care. He's like, "Yeah, whatever, fuck him." But I thought Roland was going to end up like in Jack Mort as he was pushing Jake, where he wouldn't be able to stop it from happening, but he would see it all. So it was kind of like Roland was killing him again.
Yeah.
And it might have been more interesting if that actually did happen. But
I like how, like, he just kind of glosses over the whole time travel paradox thing, because I was thinking that too. I'm like, wait a second. If Jake doesn't die, then he can't end up at the way station. Like, come on, we're just gonna ignore that.
Or I thought at the end he would go out of Mort's body, and then Mort would be like, okay, well, I still want to kill this kid, so. And, like, it'll still happen because of that, but no.
Nah, there's no body.
No. He
what
does
would
not.
happen if Detta like killed Roland while he was in Jack Mort?
Nothing good.
Yeah, does he like then become like the Oracle in the mountains or something? Like does he stay conscious? He's just like a disembodied consciousness floating around the ether somewhere.
Or floating around in Mort for the rest of time.
I guess that would. Yeah, I guess what would happen is Jack Mort would get kicked out of his own body, and Roland would take that one. If it came down to that, like, well, how would you do that? Would that work? I think that's a different story. So yeah, he jumps into Jack, sees Jake. So this is, I haven't read this in a week. This is when he's about to push Jake in the street, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we get all kind of paradox heavy here in a second.
Well, he even says that in the book. He's like, if Roland had stopped to think about the paradox or whatever of time, blah blah blah, then it would have stopped. And it's like, but he didn't. And he's like, okay.
He loves doing that, but he didn't. If this, nothing would have happened. But he didn't do that, so this is what happened.
Well, it's not just that; it's that he's saying, it's different than his normal foreshadowing. It's him saying like, listen, I know this is a plot hole, but we're gonna move on. This is gonna happen, so deal with it.
Yeah, don't let the truth get in the way of a good story, right?
Right. And it's fine.
Right.
It works because I love Jake and I missed him, so I'm glad even him in mentioning or in passing is back.
I do miss Jake, and be careful. He.
Oh yeah. Oops.
Yeah. Anyway, I actually like oh, Jake, like when he was like the boy is Jake. I was like, oh, we get to see Jake again. I was very happy about that. So yeah, I guess I missed him too. I didn't realize that, but Walter's oh yeah, he even says it. I highlighted that. Walter's final gleeful joke that Roland himself should murder the boy.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Roland thinks that too.
Yeah.
This would be my punishment for murdering him in my world. I mean, I don't know. Did he murder him? I guess.
It's insane to me that he's like, at the same time, so willing to accept his fate, but also willing to stop like what he's doing. He's just like, listen, I have a goal, and yeah, I might get what's coming to me on the way there, but it is what it is.
Wait, say that again?
So it's like he is both willing and able to sacrifice anyone to get to the tower, but also at the same time accept his fate around every corner as punishment. Like, yep, this is it. This is what I deserve. Like, it's like, okay, I don't know. It's so weird. It's like, so you know you're not doing what you're supposed to, but you're still gonna do it anyway, and you don't know why. Like, are you insane?
You do know, well, you know why, but you don't know why. You know it's for the tower, but you don't know why that's important. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like there's some force compelling Roland to like relentlessly, like to the point of excluding everything else from his life, seek the tower. But we don't know. I don't know what that means yet. Like, why is the tower so important?
Well, he has even said that he doesn't know why it's important. He just has to go there and say people's names. I'm like, I don't understand.
Yeah. And I'm like, that seems like the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard.
It's like you have to go to the tower to avenge the people that you killed on your way to the tower.
That's what they do in that song, Amber. Didn't I show you that song?
Yeah, that's what it reminded me of.
Yeah, he says everybody's name at the beginning.
I was listening, or I heard that in my head when I read that at the end of the book, where he was like, something about repeating the names.
Yeah. Now, in a world that's moved on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna
But real quick, Ali, you said that like he's on this relentless journey to the tower, and it reminded me of, I love the part at the end, the comparison or the point that Eddie makes where he's like, he says, I've been an addict, and he's like, I didn't get clean to die for your addiction. Like, what's going on here, dude? Like, you don't realize you have a problem?
Yeah, I definitely liked that, like, equating of them together.
Yeah, Eddie has a problem like almost from day one with the tower. Like as soon as he finds out about it, he's like, "Oh, what the fuck you doing this for? What?" But yet he keeps on going.
Yeah, that's the thing. It just makes me feel like he doesn't even think he can help it. Like, well, I know he says Roland saved his life by helping him get clean, which I'm like, all right, sure, I guess, but
I mean, yeah, I think I made the argument last time that he kind of had nothing to live for anyway, so why not go? Because there's nothing back there. But still, I don't know. Knowing that everyone Roland has ever known died for the tower, it's not. I don't know. It doesn't. I'm not too motivated for that situation.
I mean, it's even more than that. They have that exchange at the end. He straight up says, like, I wrote it down. I mean, we were just talking about this too. At least Roland is honest. What page is that? Like 450, 460 something. Where basically Eddie is just like, so, you're not gonna let Susanna die for the tower, right? And Roland just like, what do you think? And he's like, you're not gonna let all of us die, are you? And he's like, yeah.
I mean, you knew what this was. Well, I mean, he never said they wouldn't, so he's not like misleading them. So
that's the crazy part is. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm just agreeing. Like, he says that Roland saved him, but that's the same time, like, dragging him into this quest, he's kind of damning him too. But I feel like Eddie did kind of know that going into this, and because he has basically nothing else to live for, he's just going along with it.
Yeah.
But now that he's in love with, who did she become? Susanna?
Yeah, which I like how they say her name before they even tell you that's her name.
I noticed that. I'm like, they're just like, blah, 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 Susanna. I'm like, wait a minute. I mean, I know who that is, but no, like, Allie doesn't know who the hell Susanna is.
Yeah.
Oh, especially when it just straight up jumps into them being like near a lake and hunting somewhere, and he's like, someone is standing behind Roland. I'm like, sorry, who?
Yeah.
Because she can't stand for anything.
Yeah.
Wait, I missed that. Was she standing?
That's what it says. So in the final shuffle, he's trying to do everything with his left hand.
Oh, it does say he didn't see the woman standing behind him, watching with assessing brown eyes.
Well, I can tell you, Susanna don't have legs either, so I don't know what that's just.
That's what I was gonna say. She's also in a wheelchair.
Yeah. So I was a little confused. I was like, did they pick up another random person, and how and where?
How did that get through editing?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that leads to another question: Who are the three that he drew? I mean, we got Eddie, obviously, so let's scratch him off. He's easy.
Yeah, Eddie.
And then,
but is she just? The way her section and that final section were written, it almost made it like she was the three combined as a total.
Right.
Like, yeah. Eddie almost wasn't involved at all.
Amber, it's funny. We kept saying like there was Detta, Odetta, and the brain. I think Susanna is the brain. And I think that's how her personality makes sense, or her existence makes sense, where, like we were saying, she had to be someone else outside of both of them. And then, in the next sentence, we're like, why the hell does she have to become someone else every time she gets mad? Like,
I agree. And I wrote that down too, because I was like, oh, even so there is a third person, and it's Susanna. Yeah.
Yeah, she's the brain. Like we were way ahead of ourselves. We didn't realize it. Because as soon as I started reading the next chapter and they were talking about Susanna, I was like, that she's doing the things that like the brain would have been doing. It was serving, I don't know how you say it, serving the body, not either personality specifically.
Right.
Like, when she gets from the car to the penthouse without knowing how she got there, kind of thing. Like that was Susanna, I guess.
It's also gross to me that Susanna is like, Roland saved my life. And I'm like, what? Why? I mean, because
Yeah,
he
like
like
who?
cured her schizophrenia, I guess, which also I'm like, that you can't just do that, but okay.
I mean, Eddie, I get. I think Allie was saying this last time, but Susanna had Odetta had a pretty good life when she got yanked away. Maybe, I mean, sure, she had some issues, but she was living comfortably.
Well,
She didn't have any wants or needs or anything stressing her out other than.
It seemed like she was saying that he saved her life by making her whole again, like bringing her back together, making her realize that there were two personalities, I guess.
And I think that's part of it. There had to be something really wrong with her for him to fix, for her to be okay with doing this.
But it's just, yeah, well, that's true.
Because she was comfortable where she was at.
So now that that's a good point. Now that she's like whole, is she not, like she was just willing to give up everything she had in her old life and go with Eddie and Roland?
Right.
Well, again, she didn't really have a choice. I mean, she's already stuck over there.
No more doors.
I mean, not yet.
I did also love what Eddie said, where he's like, "You're in trouble. Who's gonna come through some magic door and save you? Huh? No one."
Yeah. Yeah. And then I says, "Yeah, I love that. Eddie's got to be my favorite. I forgot how much I like Eddie. Like, because all the shit he says is the shit that like I'm thinking. It's almost like he's talking to Stephen King. I know it. Yeah, that makes no sense, but it almost seems that way.
But it's just even more annoying because he doesn't do anything about it. Like from the beginning, I didn't remember that. Like you said, he's objected to this and known that they were that. Basically, Roland would sacrifice anyone for his tower, and it's still
known he was going to die since like the gunfight was over.
Right.
Yeah, and I didn't realize that it was that early. I thought like that was something that took time for him to go, wait a minute. Because he has like I thought a slow resentment for the tower building over several books, but
right.
Seems like he hated it from day one and just kept going anyway. So now he's in love with. Go ahead.
I just say it makes sense because if Roland is his Henry, then the tower is his heroine. Like he's not gonna like it. He's gonna see the problem.
Roland is his Henry. Henry is his Henry, right?
You know what I mean. If he sees Roland as a role model figure, even if he shouldn't, it's not hard for him to fall into that position.
Yeah, well, I think Eddie's. Yeah, he needs someone to take care of. So Susanna's his Henry, maybe. Or Odetta.
Well, no, I mean that's kind of my point. Is like Roland is sick.
Oh, that's true. He is taking care of him too. And he's taking care of everyone.
I don't even mean physically. I mean he's addicted to the tower.
No, I know. I know.
Oh yeah. So
like you said, like he beat his addiction. He's not dying for someone else's. I like that perspective. The tower is definitely a deadly addiction. Unless you happen to be Roland.
I was gonna say it's 99% proven to be deadly.
Yeah, there's that one guy who messed up the curve, and his butt. You don't. Never mind. I'm not saying anything there. I'm not sure you want to be him either. I guess I was just saying.
Roland.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like he's the only one that survived so far, but I don't know that that's a good thing.
Doesn't seem like it.
Yeah, he doesn't seem to have the greatest life.
Also, going to the point I was making earlier, where he like simultaneously will do bad things and also feel guilty for them. It seems almost like a part of him is like wants to be killed in pursuit of the tower because he feels guilty for it. So he's like, hey, if it happens, then that's what it happens.
Yeah, he's very accepting of the fact that he's fucking people over, and that he's gonna have to like he knows he shouldn't be doing that, but he's doing it anyway, so he's gonna have to pay for it. So that's just the way it is. And he's the world's greatest counselor. So why cry over spilled milk? Nothing I can do about it. So I feel bad, and now I'm paying for it.
Yep. What's done is done.
Yeah, like I knew this might happen when I let him fall. So here we are. Keep saying murder Jake. Like I don't. Oof.
Did we ever answer who we thought the three were though? Do we think it's Odetta, Detta, Susanna?
I thought, well, Eddie, I think we're saying Susanna for two, because we had to have a battle. Well, that was a 3-person battle right there by itself.
Yeah.
And somehow them looking at each other. She never looked in a mirror before and saw, like, I don't know. I didn't really understand the whole.
It seemed like it was more of like a metaphysical looking at each other, though. Not like a literal, I can see my own face.
I think he didn't know how to, like, get rid of the Detta. Says the third was not this man, this pusher. The third, named by Walter, had been Death. Death, but not for you. Clever as Satan, even at the end. Interesting.
So that's where I'm confused. Is the third the act of, like, killing Mort or Mort killing Jake? I don't know. Like,
Death was not for him. Death was become him.
Yeah, I didn't get that.
The prisoner, the lady, Death was the third. He was suddenly filled with the certainty that he himself was the third.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. But maybe, so it's because Jake didn't die in this. Mort did, but I think that's a little bit too literal. In him killing Mort, he, for lack of a better word, birthed Susanna. So it was the death of Odetta and Detta and the brain coming forward.
Nah, the brain. All you need is, what are we going to do tonight, Pinky?
Because, like, I almost see it as, like Roland said, where he is the third. So the first two are Eddie and Susanna, but the third is more of the act of, I don't know, somehow.
The third is Roland killing someone. Roland causing death is the third. Death become him.
But what? So him killing Mort.
I'm not sure it's that simple. I don't know.
Yeah.
See, now he kills Mort before Jake or after Jake? Before Jake, right?
It's, yeah. Well,
so
it's
Jake,
before he kills him, but.
All right, let me see if I have this. Just so when Mort's in the subway and Roland pushes him into the track and kills him, this is before Mort pushes Jake in the street with Walter in him, and Jake dies and goes to wherever Roland is. I don't even know do we know what that's called? Gilead, but it's not Gilead, but it's End-World, Midworld, or something.
It's Midworld, but I don't know if we know that yet.
I have no idea what you're talking about, so we don't know it yet.
So Jake, therefore, never dies, never goes to Roland's world, and Roland never meets him, and Roland never kills him.
So that's what I was saying earlier, which is why I think, and in conjunction with a comment that Roland makes, that it's actually after, like, this is some kind of alternate but same timeline where he's already died, and because he had to have died, so he's died twice then, right? Died to get to the way station, and then died at the way station, and now he's back in his normal life. But
yeah, that's what I was saying, like in the Gunslingers, like, well, he was dead when we met him, so he died again. I was kind of like, okay.
Roland says Jake said there are other worlds than these, and I guess he was right. So it very much feels like it's after, I mean, obviously, because that's the way it's portrayed to us, and this is part of the problem I had earlier, but I'm just willing to accept it.
Yeah, so the second is more, he has memories of something that never happened. Right?
Who has memories?
No.
Roland.
What?
Because his whole encounter with Jake never happened.
No, I think it still happened. That's the thing.
But Mort's not alive to push Jake in the street.
Right.
I think there are two timelines. Like, he was alive at some point, and that, again, how Jake ended up, and this is afterward. Like, it's too confusing to try to get into the details.
Yeah, we could get stuck on this all night, right? Honestly.
That's what I said at the beginning.
Yeah, there's a lot more of it, for sure. It doesn't get less complicated, I'll put it that way.
Oh, good.
Right? There's only book 2. Okay. Well, I stopped on a page where I just highlighted what I just said. What might happen if he stopped the man in black from murdering Jake did not come until later. Okay.
This is what I said at the beginning of the podcast, where he's just like, I could have stopped to think about it, but we're not going to.
Yeah. The possible paradox of the fistula in time and dimension. Interesting. Which might cancel out everything that happened after he had arrived at the way station. For surely, if he saved Jake in this world, there would have been no Jake for him to meet there, and everything which happened there would change. Yeah, and he's like, yeah, whatever. I'm not thinking about that anymore. Roland would have been as helpless to do otherwise as a gun is helpless to refuse the finger that squeezes the trigger.
Right, so it's like, thank God he didn't think about that, so it's not a problem. It's like, that's not how, like, physics and space and time work.
Well, Schrodinger might like it that way. Like,
yeah, right?
By looking in the box, you made the cat exist? Because it was both not there and there at the same time until you forced it into a physical state by opening the box. Okay. I don't even know where the hell we were. I think we're getting stuck on time travel already, or not time travel. Well, yeah, sort of time travel, right? Paradoxes and opening these doors. And it was definitely, yeah. So it's Jack Mort drops the brick on her head, and then a couple years later, gets her legs cut off.
Yeah, I didn't understand why she had to suffer so much for this storyline. I'm like, I feel like that was unnecessary.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because no one else really does. I mean, physically.
That. Yeah, I mean, come on. Like, she could have just been born with schizophrenia, but then I guess she was born with it. You couldn't just magically fix it with a door, so.
Yeah, she had schizophrenia and was in a wheelchair. Like, shouldn't we have given, like, I don't know, Jack Mort schizophrenia, and then he could have become like a nice guy, and his own Susanna, who could walk. I didn't even think about that. That's a rough go. Like, you got split personalities and you can't walk.
Yeah, but somehow your personalities get around just fine.
Yeah, and somehow nobody ever noticed you out in your wheelchair, like teasing all the white boys or whatever it was. Because you would be famous, at least in your own neighborhood. I like, while we're in Jack Mort's head, right, with the do bees and the don't bees. Like, that's such a Stephen King thing.
Yeah.
How you get in his head and then you have your own little lingo, like you're actually.
But it's also so relatable. Like, that is exactly like, thoughts that I have had before. Not that, but like the whole, everybody knows if you're trying not to draw attention to yourself, the last thing you do is look around and see who's looking at you.
Right. Yeah, that's how I know you're up to something.
Exactly.
All right. I would have had the phrasing correct, but like I've had those thoughts. Yeah, I would have been like, "Don't bees and do bees,"
Well,
which
right,
is a
right.
little weird, but it's like, oh yeah, don't look around, just walk. Like I say, he assumes a faintly drunken gait. Looking around, yeah, that's looking around was also only for dumb bees. Like I know exactly, like I could put myself right in that moment. It's such a, yeah, I guess relatable story. It's like almost like it's like, oh, now I know I'm in a Stephen King book. Um, I guess we travel with Jack Mort for a while. So, how far apart are the brick and the legs? Because then we figure out that the brick created Detta, but the legs is where she really came out.
Yeah. And the subway accident was like 3 years ago, and the brick was when she was 5. So I don't remember how old she is, like mid-30s, mid to late 30s.
That's a good question. How old is Eddie?
Eddie's 23
24.
or something. Yeah.
Yeah, so she's
Well,
old.
yeah, I think she's older. I think he said like I was born in such and such a time. Oh, it's in her section somewhere. But I think she's like 20 years older than him or something.
Oh, I didn't realize it was that much. I read 8 books, and I don't think I realized it was that much.
Well, I don't know. Well, never mind.
I don't know that for a fact, but I do remember it was vaguely mentioned somewhere.
She can't be too old, but then again, I can't say anything.
Yeah, I like I'm at the part where Roland faints, and he thought of Jake, thought of the push which had sent Jake into this world, and he thought he heard the laughter of the man in black, and that finished. Roland fainted. Like, yeah, how do you faint?
That's what I was talking about. I'm like, how do you
Yeah, I
faint in
know, it's
someone's
funny.
head?
Because then he like wakes up and he's like, "Oh, I got this. You get out of here." Jack Mort, who is now only a human doll,
Well, he wakes up hours later. Poor Eddie.
right? It was maybe 9 o'clock when I came through the door. Yeah, and isn't? Oh no, Susanna's out there now, right? We
But
had all the door stuffs figured out.
why? I don't understand why Eddie. I guess he was guarding Roland's body. Like, I guess because I'm like, why wouldn't you go hide and sleep? But that's a good point. He probably had to guard Roland.
Yeah.
Okay, so when Roland goes, wait a minute. When Roland goes through the pusher door, she's not Susanna yet, right?
No, she's Detta, who is hidden with the gun.
Right. Okay. All right. We haven't. Okay. So yeah, because part 2 didn't end as neatly as part 1 did. So part 2 was unresolved.
Yeah.
We're resolving that now.
Mm-hmm.
So he's got a like. Okay, so he's got Detta on the other side waiting to kill him, and he knows that, and he's got Jack on this side, who is the reason for everything that he's trying to kill. That's still a stressful situation.
Yeah, I didn't really think about how he was gonna like deal with Detta when he got back in there, but that was a pretty good idea.
What do you do? Remind me.
He basically made
Oh,
them
he shows them each
aware of
other. Yeah,
themselves. Yeah.
yeah. You like basically like stuck up a mirror and said, "Hey, check this out."
Yeah.
Um,
Part of me was like, she's not gonna look. She's gonna look away.
I know.
Just because Detta won't do anything you want her to do.
I don't know. I feel like a Detta was kind of useless too. Detta, at least, she would have survived.
I like the Detta that is in Susanna. You know what I mean? Like the Detta who's still angry, but at least is on their side.
Yeah. I like the person that she ended up being.
Yeah.
Like she can actually be useful to them because she has the skills and partial mindset of what Detta had,
Yeah.
but she's more restrained, like Odetta.
Exactly. Yeah.
Definitely like that. Also, I found so Eddie is 23. He was born the same year that Roland took Odetta out of the changing room. So I guess, I mean, she would be younger. But because she would be the same age that
she was born the year so they'd be about the same age, wouldn't they?
No. For some reason, I think he's like 12. She's like 12 years older than him. I have that number in my head. She's definitely older because they talk about that.
Yeah, I don't remember why that mattered. But...
yeah, right. Because I guess he's a young punk, and it's like, yeah, okay, whatever. This whole if you want us to buy into this love story, then we're gonna buy into it. Just leave it alone.
Because I mean, how old are you? And she said old enough to vote, not old enough for Social Security.
That's
but so
yeah,
somewhere in her 20s, 30s.
Roland's running around in Earth, New York, like he's done this before. He adapted really quick.
I mean, I feel like a gunslinger will do that. Which, by the way, surprised me that he already called Eddie and Susanna gunslingers at the end. I was like, okay. They didn't have to have any kind of ritual or anything.
He makes people gunslingers like they fall in love around here.
Right.
When he called the cops gunslingers, like pretty much anyone who wields a gun is a gunslinger to him. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, but I understood. I got that because he was calling them like law enforcement by calling them gunslingers. So he was giving them like a sign of respect that they were like, while he was calling them fat and lazy, they were the ones that he didn't want to kill because they were just keeping the peace, kind of thing.
Plus, that was still in our world, so like that is our version of the gunslinger.
Yeah.
Well, what are the drawers?
I was wondering that too. She didn't. I was like, wait, you're just gonna throw that out there?
Wait, what?
The drawers. When Detta is stalking the door, she said, talking about the predator bones that she found. Talking about how some old long gone weasel or ferret had perhaps gone out at night, following its nose further up into the drawers to where the trees and undergrowth were thicker. I don't know. I've never heard that before, but I feel like I've heard that with Detta before for some reason.
Yeah, that was what I thought too. I was like, that sounds so familiar, but so out of place here.
I like how she thinks of him as the really bad man in capital letters.
Yeah. And then he calls her the really bad woman at one point.
Oh, does he? Is she capitalized?
It's like, yeah, it's like one time, I think, towards the end.
That was, yeah. What if she killed his body, he could come back and enter her, right?
I don't know.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, we already have like enough confusing stuff with what actually happened. I don't feel like we need to go too far into what could have happened.
Muddy the waters anymore. Did no-dos exist in 1963? Because she talks about no-dos.
No-toe?
No-dos. It was like, you guys even know what that is? Is it Vivarin no-dos? It was like caffeine pills in the 80s.
No.
It's where they had good drugs to like keep you awake. It was what people used to take.
Yeah, I got the context on that, but never actually heard of it.
We used to eat no-dos like candy. Take like 15 of them. That's how good they worked. This was before ephedrine was sold in stores. Yeah, Detta starts questioning herself too. It was like, well, why would they try to? If they're scared you might die, why are they trying to poison you?
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
Like, oh, don't go too far down that road because you might not like where it comes out.
I also look like I thought it was interesting that she could stop Odetta from coming out. Like, she's definitely the much stronger personality.
Yeah, even though she's like the side piece, like
Right.
she's not the one that is supposed to be there.
But she was like, "No, you're not coming out. Get back in there."
Yeah, which makes her aware of the other one, though, right?
Yeah. Well, I think they kind of mentioned that Detta was always somewhat aware because
Aware of something, but she just didn't know what.
Yeah.
Yeah, and when did Detta learn to tie these complicated knots where she's got fucking Eddie hogtied, and if he moves, he gets, the rope gets tighter. Like I wouldn't. She's like some city socialite. How does she know how to do all that?
I mean, we don't know what Detta Walker got up to.
Yeah.
Well, no, but I mean, she's still in the same body as the other person. I don't know.
That was so. First of all, that part was just like classic Stephen King. I loved reading it. It was so like scary and like, oh my god. Like I knew Eddie was gonna be okay, but I honestly couldn't remember. I was like, does he get hurt here? Like, what happened?
Especially reading the parts where Roland is like thinking about what could be happening to Eddie.
Yeah.
I definitely thought he was getting a chunk of his face taken off. It's like, oh,
with the lobstrosities. Yeah. That was, just when you think you're done with them, they keep coming back. Like they need to get off this beach because I don't like them things anymore.
Yeah. From beginning to end.
Yeah. Note to self: do not swim. But that was because that's like classic Stephen King. You're right. Just the suspense building. Like, is he going to get his face eaten off? Is he going to turn around and not have a nose?
Trying to think of him like that's just like a. I can't imagine how painful that situation would be, where you have to keep your body propped up in a certain way, or you stop breathing.
Yeah, and the way he had to do it was to face the water and watch them come out of it. Like he couldn't turn away from it, or I can just picture it and the I love those things and the pleading. That a joke? Did it joke? Like it's
like
so disarming. Like, what do you want? Are you actually asking me? Whoa, there goes my hand.
Yeah. I mean, like, I never thought Roland would get permanently hurt like that, so I didn't know what was going to happen to Eddie.
That's like when you first meet Roland. Well, not when you first. Well, I guess it's after the whole book. It's when you first meet like the real Roland.
Yeah, that's like one of the first things that happens to Roland in this book, and I'm like, oh god.
I was mad. I was mad. Like, god damn it! I got 5 books of this guy with no shooting hand.
Yeah. So I would not have put it past him to make Eddie lose an eye or something.
Yeah. Right. Eddie's got nothing wrong with him. He's a little too perfect. Detta's or whatever her name is. Susanna's got no legs, and sometimes other personalities. Roland's missing half his dominant hand, and he's still whole physically. I guess somebody has to be because he's the one doing all the physical work. Neither one of them can do it.
I'm like, Eddie hasn't exactly not suffered, so
he did like 800 miles up and down the beach.
Also,
like 2 days.
We haven't talked about the fact that him being hogtied and left for dead happened the night after they slept together, or the 2 nights after? I don't know how long that was.
I think it was a couple because he had to finish getting her down the beach. Go back to Roland. He slept where Roland was that night, and then they had to take another night in between.
Just like poor.
So, I mean, it did happen very quickly, but not the next night.
Oh yeah, he's like, "Don't fall asleep. Don't stay on your couch." Like, I got it. Don't worry. And then you just switch to Detta, and she's just watching him until he falls asleep.
Yep.
Yeah.
God damn it, Eddie, you were so.
But it also is because Roland passed out for hours, so like wasted all that time.
Yeah, that did help. I know. I had a much more sense of urgency than he did for sure. I was like, oh my God, hurry the hell up.
Well, I did like that he was like at the end, just like walking with his body on fire. Like, shut up, I'm not done yet.
Wait, who?
With
Roland?
Jack's body.
Oh, yeah. Oh yeah, Jack's like screaming. He's like, shut up.
He's like, put out the fire. He's like, and he's like, even the police could smell the burning flesh.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's right. Oh yeah, that whole visual was awesome. Yeah, because I guess Roland's not feeling the pain for some reason. I don't really
I
know how
think
that.
he is. I think he just is good at
deals
ignoring
with
it.
it.
Yeah.
He just didn't care.
Yeah.
Pain was temporary or some shit like that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess in his own body, he had been dealing with like basically almost dying. So,
Yeah.
Yeah. So the way Eddie's tied, wait a minute. There might come a time when he would simply be unable to bring his legs back up.
Because I've seen like there's a show called The Challenge on MTV that I used to watch a lot, and they do things like not to the point where you'll die, obviously, but it's like hold your body up this way and like or you'll lose. Like the last person to let go will lose. Like it's like you're in these impossible situations where it's just like such strain on your muscles. And I can't imagine being in that situation where it's literally life or death, and then you're still gonna probably die anyway. Like how do you even fight at that point when you see these lobstrosities are going to come at you?
yeah.
Yeah, if you relax, you die. Well, that won't be a problem once the monstrosities come out, right?
It's like, why should I fight to live to die?
Yeah, like I said, that's one complicated ass knot she's got going on with him.
And I can't
Um,
believe, I mean, he must have been really tired that she did all of that while he was sleeping.
I was thinking that, like,
Yeah.
you got your ass hog-tied to the point you can't even move without waking up. Like, come on, man. So much
Well,
for being on guard.
she was just braiding and knotting it. The everything else came once she had the noose around his neck.
Well, yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I guess he did pre-plan most of it. Still.
It's
Oh,
true.
that's true, because she threw it around his neck and just kind of pulled it, and he woke up getting choked.
Yeah. But I mean, how impressive is that she's got no legs and she's still forcing him to hogtie himself?
Yeah, what was it? She's like had the rope in her mouth, and she was dragging him down the beach with the
Yeah, she was
Yeah.
like, you can try to be funny, but you might want to look at me right now. I got the rope in my mouth, so don't even try it.
yeah. Yeah, I like
How
that.
strong are her teeth? Because I feel like you could still rip that out of her teeth. Huh.
Yeah.
I
But,
that kind of makes my mouth hurt trying to think about pulling a body with rope in my teeth. Like, there are people that like pull semi trucks with their teeth? They're idiots.
Well, I don't think she actually had to pull it. I think she was saying, if you try to escape, I will pull it and kill you.
yeah.
No, but she pulled him down to the beach that way.
Not with it
Yeah,
in
but
her
with
mouth,
her
I don't.
hands.
Yeah.
I thought she did for some reason.
I think that was only when she was making him tie himself up.
Oh, could have been.
Whatever.
Oh, that's much less. That's not as impressive.
It's still impressive.
And again, we're classic Stephen King. I love the Mortsapedia that Roland keeps accessing.
Yeah. I thought of
Oh,
you because that is definitely something I knew you would notice.
yes. Roland consulted the Mortsapedia. Every time he said that, I cracked.
It's just also so hilarious to think of like Mort in there screaming, not knowing what the hell's going on, and Roland every now and then is like, "What's this? What is that thing called?
Yeah.
Do you have this?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Bye."
Yeah, and I imagine Mort's not answering him. He's just like accessing the files, like
Yeah.
Yeah.
like Jonesy and Dreamcatcher. Yeah, because I guess Mort's too busy screaming, so Roland's like, "All right, where is this?" I like how fast he finds the information too.
They said he looked like a robot consulting his brain
Yeah.
for every answer.
He clawed at Mort's mind, ignoring the screens, and found that this was all right. The fault was controlled. Oh yeah, because he's in the elevator.
Oh yeah, right. Because he was like, "Oh no, Wait, this is okay.
Yeah, the box was falling. And then, yeah, just the guys trying to talk to him in the elevator. Roland just looks at him and says, "Shut up."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds like Roland. That's Roland in therapy mode. Like he has a problem with, well, I guess not. I'm gonna say taxis, but that is the way it
Yeah.
sounds. It's just spelled differently.
But
Like
if
how he
you're
calls.
looking at someone's, it's whatever. I'm like, wouldn't you see the way it's spelled?
Yeah, wouldn't the Mortsopedia spell it differently?
I don't know.
Maybe it's more of like a
He says it. It's like taxi.
yeah.
It's kind of
He hears it.
yeah, it's totally racist, but it's also kind of funny. The tribes that drove them, the Mortsopedia told him, were two Spics and
Yeah.
Monkeys.
Ugh, yeah.
Okay, I know what the Spics are. What's a Maki? Anybody know that one? I don't even
No,
know that one.
I have no idea.
Yeah, probably not going to explore that too much further.
The best.
Yeah, but it was. And do you guys know what a hack is? You ever heard of hacks? When it comes to a cab, it's like an illegal cab. You don't have a cab license, but you drive around and take people places. So it's like much more dangerous, but it's also cheaper.
Yeah.
But I like a hack is like a HACK. I like how he spells it. The cabs or the hacks is HAX. Like hacks the cook.
Yeah, I was thinking that.
Tell him you'll tip him $5. The Mortsopedia advised. I like how the Mortsopedia is talking to him while Mort's screaming.
That is one thing I like about Stephen King stories is like, yeah, they're horror stories, so there are going to be a lot of good people or bad things happen to them, but almost always bad things also happen to the bad people, and it's always fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. He was like, I liked Stephen King because most people, no matter what happened during the course of the book, you knew it was all going to be okay in the end. Stephen King, you didn't have that guarantee. So you got to like these characters, and they were, pretty well rounded for the most part, and you didn't know if they're going to get ripped out from under you at any point.
But the counterpart to that is that at least there's justice usually for all of the villains too.
Yeah, well, that's what it doesn't end well for good or bad usually. So, like a Pet Cemetery kind of ending.
Yeah.
And not the new one.
That's why it's like it is actually one of the best most heartwarming stories. Like,
I mean, I have to say he kind of nailed the end on that one. I liked the end. After I realized that I mostly was remembering the movies and not the book because it's been a while since I've read it. So after we did it, I was like, that's actually a pretty. I don't know how I would improve that.
Right.
Because usually he's, you build, and then oops, there's no confrontation, then the bad guy's dead. Sorry about that.
Right.
This time there was definitely a confrontation, and they went right at it.
And almost, I mean, at least mostly all the likable characters survived. I mean, maybe not if you like Eddie, but whatever.
Damn. Well, I mean, I liked Eddie.
I
didn't know how you felt about him. Jeez.
He's not Ben,
Yeah.
But my point was that it's a very happy ending for Stephen King story.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, 1 out of 7 ain't bad, right?
Well, 2, but
well, oh well, yeah, that's true. Yeah.
We don't count him anyway, so
no, coward.
Anyway.
I like how Roland's impressed with the Shooter's Bible. He was like, "Oh, that's a noble book indeed."
Yeah.
Photographs.
It's so funny.
Yeah, some of Roland's thoughts are actually quite humorous, but they're, Roland's not trying to be funny in his head. He's just thinking, but the disconnect is making it all funny. I don't know. There's just certain words that Roland just can't do for whatever reason. Maybe it's because isn't the high speech supposed to be the same as English or really close to it, but there's certain differences.
I think so, yeah.
So when it says photograph, he sees it as photograph. Maybe it's
Yeah,
something like that.
I never considered that. Maybe that's where it's getting lost is because of the high speed.
Like
Maybe.
Aston, he just has certain words you can't say for some reason. Yeah. So then Roland as Jack Mort. Why did he? Were the bullets that damn important? I guess they were. Was he? Oh yeah, I guess they were that damn
Or
important.
out, yeah. I mean, they barely had. They didn't know if they had any good ones.
They didn't know Detta had any good ones, so he had to make sure he had some good ones. I guess. Yeah, I guess they were that important. And you see, because you forget what's on the other side waiting for him.
So like he didn't even know what he was going. His only objective going into that door was get medicine and get ammo. Like
by himself. That's what I'm saying. He's quite comfortable in this strange world he's never been in.
But
well,
like he didn't even think about what he was actually supposed to be doing. I guess like before he would just figure it out, and he did right away, but still it's just funny.
Well, and he definitely seems to know like immediately that Mort was not someone like who was involved in their quest ultimately.
Yeah.
He's definitely not part of the concept.
Yeah.
I wonder
because,
when. Sorry.
Yeah.
I just say I wonder when, and maybe it mentions I don't remember. Like he decides, like he knows, or is it from? Is it when he finds out that he is the man, that Jack is the person that hurt Detta both times? That he's like, okay, now I see. I'm gonna kill him after I get everything I need, or did it happen at some point on the journey to get what he needed?
Well, I think as soon as he like went into Jack, he realized who he was. Then
No, I get that. But at what point did he know that he was going to kill him by jumping in front of the subway?
I think as soon as he realized who Jack, yeah.
Right, like, okay, that was my question, yeah.
Yeah, I was like, oh, you're going to die. But first we got to get some Aston and some Keflex, and I never heard of Keflex, but, and some ammo. So yeah, he goes and gets the ammo. Okay. It seems like a really complicated plan when he could have just made the guy give him the damn ammo.
I was thinking that too. I'm like, why did you? I guess because he didn't
He
have
want
a
to
gun.
hurt him.
Well, he didn't have a gun, did he?
Yeah, he had no way to like.
Oh, when he knew he had a gun behind the counter.
Yeah.
Which I don't know why he didn't just like try to strong arm him into basically take the gun from him and then force it.
Right.
Yeah, isn't he like the fastest person in the history of ever drawing a gun? Couldn't he have?
It makes it seem like
70% of the population believe go fuck yourself as American for have a nice day. There's a Balazar mention.
Yeah, that was interesting.
Yeah. So Roland's talking to the cops, or no, he's got a sign for the thing. He says duplicating Mort's signature with Mort's consciousness absent was basically not going to happen. Like, well, okay, where is Mort? Last I knew, he was back there screaming, but he was there. Is he?
He said he passed out.
Oh, so Mort can pass out too.
Yeah, because he said finally, because now he can think clearer or something like that.
Can you access the Mortsopedia when Mort is passed out?
Yes.
I love the Mortsopedia. I got it. Okay.
But it does seem like a really like it's a cool plan and it works because it's a book. But in real life, like you're taking a lot of risks that wouldn't have worked out that way.
It's too much time. Like they would have called it in before they walked in there. The whole thing took too long.
That nobody else tried to come in the meantime. Like I know he locked the door, or no, he didn't. He said he turned the sign to closed. Like
oh, clearly that kept everybody out. Yeah, the whole time I'm waiting for someone to be in there. When he left, it was going to be like, an army of cops outside the store pointing guns at him or something.
Right. Like, and it's so, I don't remember exactly what happened, but I'm like, it wasn't there. I feel like there would have been some noise. Like, ugh.
Yeah, it was.
But
You know,
it was still cool to read it. I mean,
Yeah.
it's very action packed for sure. Because I didn't. Yeah, I mean, classic Stephen King. I didn't really understand what was happening and why he was doing what he was doing until he did. Until like, why are you throwing your wallet under the counter? And
yeah,
why did you? What did he say? He hoped for their sakes that the gunslingers were as like fat and lazy as they seemed to be, or something like that.
just so that he
Uh,
could, get one over on them.
yeah, because they were going to die if they were too quick to react or something like
Yeah.
that.
That's just how it is with Roland,
I like when Fat Johnny reaches down and he farts and he like
Oh,
dumps
that was,
the
yeah, that was funny.
because he thinks he got shot. Time of dying. He had mistaken the sound of his own fart for a gunshot, and his time of dying had come.
I feel like that seems like classic Stephen King humor.
Right. Maybe the guy didn't mean to hit him after all. Maybe the guy wasn't crazy, just insane. I don't know how to interpret that. Which one's worse, crazy? All right, so I guess I don't have too much more to say about that scene. So what happens? So he gets the bullets, and the cops get tied up, and the rest of their careers turn to shit. Apparently, um, he does a lot of in the inquest later. 9 years later, when he was with his grandson, he would remember this day. Yeah, because he said the guy sounded like a robot.
Yeah.
But beyond that, so he gets what he needs, and then what? We just go back to the subway and throw him in front of it. Oh wait,
No,
no.
he goes to the pharmacy
Right. Okay.
and then pays a Rolex for $60 worth of penicillin.
Yeah.
After robbing them. It's just like insane that he also pays for everything.
I was trying to remember if I know. I mean, like amazingly, the guy. Yeah. Katz's drugstore. Is that? Do we know that from anything?
We do yeah,
It was
why
real
not?
familiar, but I wasn't sure. I started thinking of Fratty's pawn shop. Like, no, Mr. Keen's the drug. Is like, is that? And that then
Well,
I'm.
my thought was that maybe it comes up later.
Oh, maybe it does. Maybe that's why it's
Because it's
familiar.
New York. The only setting that really is in New York is the Dark Tower. So I was like, maybe that's what I'm remembering.
Well, the beginning of Firestarter was too, but we're not there long enough to know
Yeah.
anything else from it.
That was like the same beginning as Jake. Like, I wonder if Jake was getting pushed in the car while they're running from the shop. So, and I guess Roland's doing some remembering. The thing that called itself Flag is mentioned, by the way.
I know, I wrote that down.
Um, so, Amber, you have the original still?
Original what?
Publication.
I believe so, yeah.
So Flag is in yours?
Yeah. Well, so it also confused the hell out of me, like always with the whole Martin stuff. So mine's page 418.
Yeah, I know what you're about to tell me, I think. So I highlighted that like whole page.
Yeah. Basically the same thing. But he would never forget seeing Flag change a man who had irritated him into a howling dog. He remembered that well enough. Then there had been the man in black, and then there had been Martin. I'm like, okay, are they the same person? Is that what you're trying to say then? I don't get it. Or that you've seen sorcerers before?
Who did Flag turn into a dog? Not the kid, is it?
I don't know if he's referencing anything specifically. Yeah, I didn't think about that.
I like the kid. Well, I don't like the kid, but I like the character. Yeah. So, and then he goes, and then there had been Martin, who had seduced his mother while his father was away. Martin, who had tried to author Roland's death, but instead authored his early manhood. Martin, who again before. So, yeah. So Martin is not Walter in that paragraph, and it's very demonstrative. Like I said, I don't know if you remember, but in the scene, it didn't seem that obvious that that's what was happening. Here, it's like, okay, that's exactly what was going on. There's no doubt anymore. But it seemed way more ambiguous than that, and I thought.
Wait, what are you saying is confirmed here?
Martin and his mom.
Oh yeah, okay.
And what was going on.
Right.
Not that it was much more ambiguous, but Roland took it as. Remember, we were saying like Roland was pretty damn sure what was happening, but I didn't. It didn't seem that obvious to me. So here they're like, yeah, Martin was like screwing his mom, and but that makes other than Walter, who is Flag, right? But in the Gunslinger, he definitely said Martin was Walter. I remember that.
So this is where I'm confused, because at the end of that paragraph that I just read, I don't understand if he's saying, because he says he remembered seeing Flag do magic, then there had been the man in black, and there had been Martin. Is he just saying that these are all people that he's seen do magic?
Sounds like 3 different people.
Yeah,
like 3 different people.
That's my question. I wasn't sure if he was just saying these are different people that he's seen do magic, or if he was saying that this is one person who keeps changing.
Or to make it even more ambiguous, maybe like 3 figures, 3 different faces he's seen do magic, even though they're actually the same person, maybe?
Well, that's what I was saying. Is that what he's saying, or is he saying they're actually 3 different people?
I'm gonna go out on a limb and say none of that is confirmed yet.
Yeah, I don't know. I just don't know what he means by those sentences, by mentioning it in that order and saying, like, he's not saying like, and then there was Martin. It just says, well, okay, yeah, he said he remembered that.
Let's back it up. He had no magicians. Some had been clever charlatans. Some had been stupid fakes. But there had never been a shortage of fools in the world, so the fake survived, and a small few actually able to do the things which men whisper. Called demons, killed the curse. One of these had been a creature the Gunslinger believed to be a demon himself, a creature that pretended to be a man and called itself Flag.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's Flag.
So, okay. You can see on briefly these 3 across the time apart. Then there had been. These are 3 different people.
Well, so again, I don't know how you know that 100%.
Well, I don't. But that's the way I'm interpreting it.
He said, then there had been the man in black, but he says, and there had been Martin, not, and then there had been Martin.
I think you're overthinking conjunctions.
Well, then why did you mention the then to begin with?
Because
you can't say that is the reason why it seems like 3 people if it means nothing after that.
No, well, the reason it's 3 people because of the beginning, the way that chapter starts, about how he knows magicians, and it's like one of the magicians was Flag, and then there was the man in black who, based on the paragraph, seems like another magician, and then there had been Martin. Yeah, it's weird.
That's what I was thinking.
It's worded a little weirdly, but I still think it's 3 people. At least in well, that being said, I don't think that the Man in Black and Martin and Flag are three different people, but in this page right here, it sounds like he's talking about three different people. So he seems to go back and forth. Because in the guy, person, if I remember it right, and then here he seems to be implying they're not the same person.
Yeah, I don't know.
I guess that's what happens when you write them 15 years apart. As if you could not do that by chewing alder bark. Oh, he's in a drugstore. Okay. How come filters these Roland spells with a PH? That's weird. Just to do it. Okay, so such sorcerers were called doctors with a K. Why did you put that in there? They wrote their magic formulae on sheets of paper, which is more like REXES Rexes.
Right. Yeah, I didn't really get that because I'm like,
it's like RX.
Yeah, because like prescriptions and RX.
Yeah. I was trying to get from script to Rexes. I'm like, I don't get it.
I think you need to take the first E out, just be like RXs. But that's probably a Rolandism or a Stephen Kingism. All right, so he gets all the Keflex he can take. I'm running out of pages. Apparently, I was not highlighting for a while. Yeah, so he gets the Keflex and he pays for it with a $6,500 Rolex. He's like, dude, first thing you're gonna do is put that wristwatch under the counter. You never saw it.
Yeah, right.
Right. I didn't see it. Half of it, I think, is what you mean. Because if you think I'm not getting in on that. So that's okay. So it's the same two cops that basically follow him down to the subway station.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's up there. Yeah. They put
the heat on the subway station.
What's that?
The one at the subway station is different than the one whose head he knocked together.
Omir and Devlin are not the same one?
There's the guys who, so Omir and Devlin were the ones who was at the gun store, then followed to the drugstore, and then Roland stole their car.
Yeah.
And drove to the subway.
The other two were listening on the radio.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I want to see Roland driving the car, by the way. I want to see what that was like.
That would probably be terrible.
Amber, does your book say code 19 for robbery in progress?
I don't remember, honestly.
They've let Devlin and Omir, chapter 2 or part 2 of chapter 4.
What page?
Well, on mine, 344, but I don't think that translates because I'm on a tablet. So chapter 4, the drawing. Part 2. Like the
third. That is code 19.
Okay. Did he go back in? No. Yeah. I saw for sure that he added that back in.
That could just be a coincidence.
Right. Maybe he's thinking ahead of himself. I like how Roland's just like flabbergasted amount of drugs at the drugstore, just sitting back there. Paper. Paper is very scarce in his world, apparently. He's always amazed at the amount of paper.
That was one thing that I remembered from reading it the first time. Like, every time I waste paper, I think about Roland.
Yeah, like, what would Roland do?
Yeah, I remember that at work.
to get that bumper sticker. What would Roland? Like, can you drive this carriage? He asked the screaming, gibbering thing that was Jack Moore. He got no coherent answer. Mark just went on screaming.
Jack Moore was having hysterics
on purpose as a way of avoiding any conversation with this weird kidnapper. Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure what I would think if I was him. I'd probably think I'd fucking lost my shit, I would imagine. In the gunslinger's world, Eddie Dean's hopes were crumbling like oh, it's getting dark. Oh yeah, that was very stressful because it was like a 10-minute window. It was very exact when the monstrosities come out. Apparently, there's not much of a window there.
Yeah, that's another
like
a minute.
I just think that's another. Like, I feel like the rules change every time, but whatever, I don't care.
Yeah.
I like how like Roland starts arguing with Mort. Like I'll punch your eye out. I'll do it. Like he's putting his thumb in his own eye and threatening him with it. Like he raised the eye till it was a half inch away. Or I'm sorry, it was less than half an inch away, still moving when he gave in. He's talking about his thumb moving towards his eye. So
yeah, I remember specifically from that part that it was just that they both knew that Roland was being serious. Like Jack knew. It was like game knows game.
apparently he woke up and he's like, I'm dead.
No, you're not. And but he's still doing his he could appreciate Jack Moore's quiet courtesy and Jack Moore's good taste. Doobies covered all the bases. Mort thinking that, or is that Roland thinking that? Roland's starting to think like Jack. Yeah. The bullet smacked the lighter set of Mort's heart, which was generic. What does that mean? Oh, the lighter. I thought he was talking about his fucking heart. Oops.
Yeah, that's what I thought too.
That makes more sense. I was like, damn, Mort's got a generic heart, huh? It sucks to be him. Got a little ambiguous pronoun there.
I have to find that part. Doesn't he say something about his care for things only goes like, never mind. I thought he was saying like he didn't have a very strong heart. But I don't know.
Oh, I missed that. How did
it can't be that cheap or it wouldn't have saved his life. It was like a $200 lighter.
Well, that's
which
true.
I don't even know if that's possible, but whatever.
Yeah, so the lighter. All right, the guy shoots
lighter fluid and
it catches on fire. How? Smoke was right. Oh, because the bullet made a burning hole in his jacket, and the burning hole interacted with the lighter fluid that was leaking out, I guess.
Yeah, which is. I
Seems a little
don't know if that's exactly.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm buying that one, but I like the whole idea of the guy on fire walking towards him.
Yeah,
and the cop going, great. Holy shit, how, like I shot him and he caught on fire. How the hell did that happen?
Yeah, right. The cop was like, oh God, I didn't mean to.
Right? I'll never shoot anybody again. Like the idea that his bullet had somehow set the guy on fire filled him with unreasoning horror. I don't know that that's unreasoning horror, I gotta tell you. I think that's fully justified horror. You shot a guy and now he's on fire and he's coming at you.
Yeah, that would be kind of terrifying.
Right. He was holding a gun and another was strapped around his waist. Also, he appeared to be on fire. Yeah, I love the guy on fire.
Feel worlds tremble and reel about his head. was the first time that happened?
I don't know. I feel like I'm supposed to know that,
Maybe
but I
when
don't.
he um maybe when he like saw the flashbacks in Mort's head and saw like how all of their paths crossed.
Yeah, I don't.
And passed out. I don't know. I'm just speculating.
I feel like he feels like we're supposed to know what he's talking about. I don't remember. Yeah. So moving on, we're back with Jack. I like the old. He had white underdrawers like a horse panties. He had no time to reflect on this oddity. If he did not move fast, he could stop worrying about burning alive. The bullets he had purchased would get hot and simply explode. Like,
Is that how
honestly,
bullets work?
I
I
don't.
guess because it's gunpowder, but
I mean, it is gunpowder. Is that how gunpowder works? It gets hot and explodes.
yeah, I don't know.
I thought you had to actually like but I have no idea.
Right. Whatever.
I guess. I mean, he's a gunslinger, so I'm just gonna go with it.
Right.
But I like the whole idea of the bullets in his pocket just like all going off at once and Jack Mort just exploding. I feel like he deserves that. Although he gets.
I mean, I think he gets a better deserved ending.
Yeah, more
He's
fightful one,
also
right?
fire for the last like couple minutes of his life.
That is a pretty good one. So does Jack Mort feel all? So control the body. Does he feel the pain? Does he
I'm
feel
sure.
that he's on fire? I like how he's screaming at Roland, like, "Put me out!" And Roland's like, "Not yet."
Yeah.
He's
He
like,
said something like, "I got plans for you." He's like, "What are
"Yeah,
you talking about?"
put me before I burn up." You ought to burn.
Right.
What's going to happen is more mercy.
Then you deserve, yeah.
He's like, "What do you mean? What do you mean?" He's like, da, 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 da. "Nothing. Forget I said anything." Yeah, and then while he's
Now,
doing that with Roland at the same time, I mean, with Jack, psychic message to Detta to look at each other in the doorway.
right, which
He's a
lucky
busy
for
guy.
him works out.
Yeah, it worked perfectly, didn't it?
Uh-huh.
He looked directly into her face. Faces. Yeah, okay. I think I'm gonna miss Detta. I kind of like her, but I guess we got Susanna now because that's the moral of that story. So he gets not by making them face each other and with one person, then he goes through the door. Just in time. Matter of fact, the monstrosity got halfway through its question.
Did he like I wonder how that sequence of events happened where he comes through the door, they're looking at each other. Did he just immediately go for Eddie, or did he see like she's distracted and he's like, I gotta go save Eddie? Like, or did he just not even
Did
think
he
about
like
it?
slip around the side while they were staring at each other in the doorway?
Yeah.
He was like, "That's great, but I got no time for that right now."
Right.
And then he goes back to his body, which isn't worth a fuck at the moment.
Yep. He can't do shit.
Roland saw one skitter toward his flailing left hand and thought, "There goes the other hand." Like,
yeah.
Okay, you didn't want to like not make that happen. So
I
Susanna
mean, he
saves
must
the
have
day.
had nothing left at that point because I can't imagine Roland just laying over and giving up.
That's Roland doesn't do things like that. I am three women. That's when I was like, wait, she's three women. Is she the drawing of the three? I'm
Right?
so confused. Like the third door is very weird. I mean, like I thought we were gonna go pick somebody up and like have them join the party, go to the tower, and instead we didn't. We only gained two people, but what? Maybe four personalities, I guess. Although But the other two, so we're back down to 2 personalities because it's just Susanna now, right?
Yeah.
So we got 3 doors and 2 people out of it. What was the point in the 3rd door? Why do we? I don't. Purpose did that?
To make Odetta and Detta one person instead of having her keep fighting them.
Yeah, it just seems like a really complicated way to have that part of her character develop, because it's like, again, she could have been like just Susanna from the beginning and maybe had something like her legs cut off, you know what I mean? There's just like so many things going on that seemed a little unnecessary, where it's like, why did we have to have this whole saga to create her?
Drama for the book, right?
I guess, yeah.
Without Detta, there's no drama every time they go through the door on the backside. I mean, there's the normal gun battle drama when you go through the door, but as far as getting back,
I mean, I do get that part of it, because it's like Susanna is supposed to be the combination of both. So it is nice to see where she comes from before and how she works with the team now. But I don't know. I just feel like there were a lot of stories there that maybe weren't as necessary.
Yeah, like this isn't one of my favorite. I mean, it's entertaining, but isn't my favorite Power book. And
I definitely liked the book.
Yeah, I like it, but I like more in the gun.
But that's not hard to do.
I mean, me too, but this is only the 2nd one I've read of the series, so.
Keflex brought explosions in his bowels. Yeah, so I mean, he loved her because she would fight and never give in. He feared her. He feared for her because he knew he would. And he well without a question or look back for the tower. For the goddamn tower.
That made me so angry, because it's like, even when he's saying he loves her, it's only because she will fight for him in his tower. It's not for any other purpose. It's like, shut up. Nobody asked you. Like, we get it.
Yeah, I mean, you keep thinking about how you love these people, but they're gonna die. But then stop like picking up people. Fuck it.
I actually wrote down, I was like, that's not love.
No, that's a fairly good point.
What I don't think Roland knows how to love.
Yeah, I agree.
Based on what I've read thus far.
Yeah, and then, so it basically ends with him and Eddie going, okay, so you're an asshole, and you're gonna kill all of us, aren't you? You'll go on.
And also, he's also like, do you know like what the plan is here, buddy? And Roland's like, yeah, go to the tower, obviously.
Right. Ask a stupid question. Yeah. I love her, man. Yes. That's a weird response. Like, I'll do what I need to do. Roland doesn't lie either. That's one thing. Like, he won't just say, don't worry, I won't hurt her. Like, he can't even placate him.
Yeah, like but I mean, that's better in my opinion.
I can see both sides of it, you know. He's like, because Eddie's like trying, you know, if you hurt her, and Ron's like, look, I'm going to do what I need to do. Not say that. Maybe saying nothing, it would have been even a little better than just being like, fuck you. I mean, if it happens, it happens. What can you do?
Yeah, you're right.
I love you both. Like,
that doesn't answer the question. Like, Eddie's on that. He's like, no, I've seen your version of love, and I'm not too sure I'm comfortable with that.
Also, like, why do you love them? Why are we supposed to believe that? Because of what? All you've done is kidnap them and force them to join you. Like,
yeah, he's known them like 4 days, and like they're like life.
You love them because you need them.
Yeah, because they're worth something to you now, because you haven't like expended their usefulness.
Right. Getting the band back together. So that doesn't answer the question. You'll go on, won't you? Or no, he said, I love you both. He's like, that doesn't answer the question. He's like, you'll go on. He's like, yep, to the very end. Yep, to the very end. No matter what. So Eddie's like, no matter what, you can, and I can hear the judgment. But he says he looked at him with love in his eyes. I'm like, no, I don't. No, I don't think he did that. They probably looked at him like, you motherfucker.
Yeah, but again, it reminds me of Henry. Like, it's the same where it's both. Like, it's love and hatred. Like,
well, he does say that. Looked at him with love and hate and all the aching dearness of one man's dying, helpless reach for another man's mind and will and need. Wow, that's oof. I think he was smoking when he wrote that sentence. You sound like Henry, man. Yeah, that's actually might be one of my favorite parts with them two talking at the end, and they're kind of like, okay, so where is this going? So yeah, we're going to the tower, duh. And you're all probably gonna die, and I'm just gonna be back where I started. So let's not dilly dally. Let's get there.
Yeah, let's get on with it.
And in the end, we will stand. I highlighted that. Make your stand. Could sound a little. I think Mother Abigail was famous for saying that.
Yeah, I didn't understand what he was saying at the end there, where he's like, "We will be magnificent." I'm like, "What are you talking about? You don't even know what you're going there to do."
I don't think.
Yeah, I feel that too.
I don't think Stephen King knew. He was just like, yeah, we'll worry about that later. He would come to the tower, and there he would sing their names. He would sing their names. Yeah, he would sing all their names. Yeah, Sunshine, the Dusky Rose. Yeah, I don't. Yeah, that was like a weird turn because he had never talked about saying any. Why? So now we're going to the tower to say a bunch of people's names.
Yeah.
Why? That seems kind of pointless, right? No. Make a video and send it to the tower.
Yeah, I mean, thus far it seems pointless, and I'm sure there's a reason for it. I just don't know what that is yet. Like, there seems to be no point to it thus far.
I mean, it definitely seems like he's saying, because he says, "Damnation, salvation, the tower." He would come to the Dark Tower, and there he would sing their names. Like that will make up for all of the people that he has killed or that have died if he says their name at the tower. I'm like, okay, cool. Like, I'm sure they feel that way too.
I imagine that's not why he's going to. He's going to do is, demonstrate all the people that have sacrificed for this.
Right. But it seems like a false hope because we know that he doesn't really know what he's supposed to be doing there. So it's just like, I'm so glad you're gonna remember the people you had to sacrifice once you get there for his cause you don't know anything about.
Yeah.
Well, and because the cause you don't know anything about, it's like, were they really sacrificed for a reason, or like, did they really have to die?
Right.
Like,
This tower better be important.
Yeah.
Right? I mean,
nope.
It's just this thing that exists back there somewhere at this point.
Like, what does he mean when he says it's not just the world that moves on? And then that's when he says, "But we will be magnificent." I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, all of a sudden now I'm like, are you okay?
Maybe the people move on too. I'm not sure. It could be.
Does that go back to the whole like out of his mind stone metaverse that he created, where this world is just in a blade of grass within a larger world type? Like,
well, that's definitely because he says it's what it seems like. There's more than a world to win, Eddie. And it's like, I would not risk you and her. I would not have allowed the boy to die if that was all there was. And it was like, but what is there? You sound
Isn't that
like a
where Ed?
preacher right now.
Isn't that where Eddie goes? Who's the boy? Or should be saying
Yeah,
that?
right.
Yeah.
I didn't
Wait
even
a
think
minute. Wait a
about
minute.
that. I'm like,
Yeah, can you back that up? What boy and how did he die?
right, what boy did you kill?
Yeah, I'm not gonna get into details. I think. Yeah, and then the F. So yeah, next is one of my favorites, The Wastelands. The gang's almost all there.
I know. I cannot wait for the next book.
One more in this book. Yeah, can't wait. You remember the way I'm gonna stop foreshadowing.
I do, because I was just thinking I love some of the people or things that we meet in the next book.
Yeah, some of the characters. Maybe that's the way you should say that.
Yeah. Machine.
All the world has moved on. Aunt Talitha and the bridge across. Anyway, let's just wait till we get there.
Yeah.
So I don't know how it's broken down. Yeah, Wastelands is like two different books. There's the whole. Is it Tull? Blood. There's the whole. And then there's before that. There's never mind. I can't talk about that.
Yeah, no, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I should just stop trying to talk about the Wastelands. So, any thoughts on drawing of the three while I look at the Wastelands? Any final thoughts?
I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I like it. We'll talk a couple books from now why it's not my favorite. I think Amber has a pretty good idea. I have to go buy book 6. I don't have that. That one.
I was thinking that too, and I was like, I have to be careful not to like mention really Susanna, because book 6 is oh my gosh, book 6 is Song of Susanna, and I kept thinking, I was like, I don't know, I know she hasn't been mentioned yet, but I don't want to like say it, and then Allie would like put the connection together, like she doesn't know who Susanna is yet.
Yeah, I'm glad I can.
Because isn't the priestess in the Gunslinger also named Susanna?
No, that's Sylvia Plath, something like that. Wait a minute, that's a real person.
I don't know who the priestess is.
In Tull.
There's something.
The evil one? Well,
yeah, the big fat one that everybody was turned on by. Right, that's who you're talking about.
Yeah,
or Allie, I think Alice Allie.
No, Allie was the girl he was doing. The preacher.
Oh, okay.
The one that was screaming interlope.
Yeah, I don't remember him.
I'm trying to find it now, and I thought it was that person, and that they were just going to somehow come back to life.
Sylvia Pittston or something.
Well, I'm still wondering if there's a connection between. And I'm like, is that just a coincidence? Like,
yeah, I was wondering that. Did he do that on purpose?
I don't know.
For Susan? Because the two characters weren't created that far apart from each other. Well, actually, maybe they were. Well, Wasteland's a little thick. I like it. The book's getting a little bigger. 600.
Kind of takes off from here.
Yeah, it really like the first two are kind of like getting it together, and the third one's a little bit of getting it. The story itself starts to take off, which is why I like this book, because you start to like get into the, I don't know, the nitty gritty, the why we're doing this and what we're doing.
Well, you actually start your quest for the tower, basically.
Do you remember where the Wasteland starts, Amber? Jesus Christ, Allie, have you looked at what book 1 of Wastelands is called?
Book 1, Jake.
Yeah, well, there you go.
Wonder what that's about.
Yeah. Who's Jake? I feel like
No,
seems vaguely familiar. I love how Wasteland starts too, and maybe we should be talking about that next time with them.
Yeah, I'm excited for that. It's gonna get a little more into that whole time travel paradox thing, but whatever.
Yeah, now
tower read. Like we got
rid of the first 2 books that we had to do, so now it's gonna
Yeah.
now it's gonna become the tower. So
just don't expect things to get less confusing.
Oh, good.
Never.
Okay.
No, there's books written trying to explain the tower.
I was gonna say, that is why I have my concordance every time.
Right. Mine's upstairs. I should go get it. I haven't used it yet, but I haven't really. I've been keeping up pretty good. I felt like I needed it really too much.
I looked up cats, but it all it said. I mean, it's thorough, but all it said was what it says in the book. And I was like, okay, well, that's not helpful.
Okay.
It was like Cat's drugstore. It even had like the guy that tried to block Roland, and I was like, okay.
When he was leaving.
Like, it's very specific, like so much information, but not any that's helpful. Like, I mean, assuming this is the only reference then, but maybe there's like a real life Cats that we saw on the tour.
So that's the end of book 2 of the Dark Tower, Drawing of the Three.
Bye.
Bye.